Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. I've finally wrapped back around to the Jiro Taniguchi books that I bought at Mocha and still haven't read yet because I've got so many other books coming in, and I really love Jiro Taniguchi, so I'm kind of spreading his work out. But as always, with the English translations of Jiro Taniguchi's work, they're from Fanfare Pont really, really amazing publishing company that has, I think, the exclusive rights to distributing his stuff in English language, or it's the only company that is doing his stuff and always doing a fantastic job on reproduction. This book is no exception to that, but it is an exception in Jiro Taniguchi's work other than the book that he did about the Louvre. This is the only one I know of that's in full color. So that's really, really special. I mean, Jiro Taniguchi is such an amazing master of pen and ink art, and especially the tones on his art, that it's always a pleasure to see his stuff in black and white, but man, can he watercolor. So this book, what it is it's part of Louis Vuitton's travel diary series, I think. This book cued me into it, that Louis Vuitton had basically set up this thing where artists would get to go to a country other than their own and produce a bunch of artwork, and then it would be like a nice couture little book, and then a lot of the art would go into the Louis Vuitton collection. So obviously they got a hold of Jiro Taniguchi. I don't know if he did this one or the Louvre one first, but one obviously incentivized the other. So this guy has worked his way up into an echelon of illustrators where massive institutions are clamoring to get him to come to their city or to their museum and make stories about their work, because he's so good, as you can see as I'm flipping through, at drawing scenery and buildings. And that's in his black and white work as well, but here you can see it with the color applied to it, and it's just astonishing what he does. It's just absolutely gorgeous. You could flip to, I don't really have my normal sticky notes all over the place, because you could flip to pretty much any page in this book and get at least one big illustration, but more likely a whole series of illustrations. I have two more from this Louis Vuitton series on order that are from Louis Vuitton. I think they got the rights to publish it as a Jiro Taniguchi piece in this format. So I don't know if this is exactly how his Louis Vuitton book works. Those ones are more expensive anyway, so I would recommend everyone buy this one from Fanfare. The other ones look like they're more just illustrations, so they don't look like they're telling a story. This one, as you can see, is pretty silent throughout, but there is a story being told in these few spots where he has some dialogue going on, like here. He's saying, "This is a watercolor by my grandfather, Venice as it once was." Now, when I first looked at this, I thought this was actually Jiro Taniguchi's grandfather had painted this, but later in the story, the main character is named someone else. So I don't know if this account is entirely fictional and he was just coming up with a narrative to frame his project. I don't think most of the other artists did that. I'm not sure. But I think he maybe wanted to tell a story because he's used to that. But at first it seemed like he was saying that he found this box. My mom died last summer. She was 78 years old. Among her belongings, I found a beautiful lacquered box that I'd never seen before. Inside were some hand-drawn postcards and old photos, all carefully arranged. They seemed to be of Venice in the 1920s or 1930s. So this has a very Jiro Taniguchi's Walking Man vibe to it, where there's a character just exploring the city, and that's the justification for Jiro Taniguchi just doing all these stellar watercolor illustrations. I mean, the precision on these, if you know his work, you know his ink work's precise. The watercolors are just as precise, which is crazy. But it gives his character a reason to explore Venice, and it has a story then as he's following basically the history of his family in these photographs. So it's a minimal story, but it's very touching and it's very sweet. And I really like that entrance of like his grandfather did a piece and they put that in there, whether that's accurate or not. It just adds a richness to the book. So really beautiful book. You can flip through it pretty quickly and get the story, but it's definitely something that, I mean, any one of these could be a painting that you stare at on its own. So I think this is a project that any fan of comics should grab, especially since it's so rare that we get color work from a Japanese artist, a mangaka working in color, and it really shows you like, oh my God, if we could get more manga in color. I mean, I'm thinking about someone like Teo Matsumoto, whose work I'm looking at a lot lately, or Daisuke Igarashi. Like when I see their color work, it's just, they're stunning watercolors, stunning colorists in general. And as much as I love their black and white art, it really makes me like, oh my God, I wish more of the artists within that industry got to the place where Jiro Taniguchi is, where he's not part of the mainstream like manga pumping out stuff monthly. He's achieved like professor emeritus status in that community or something, where he can take his time and do like a more European American type of thing, where it's like, here's a one and done book. I can do it however I want. I can take however long I want. I can paint it. I would love to see that. I mean, I like I said, I love what's going on with the monthly publishing and manga too. Plenty of great artists doing that, but it would be cool. At least I'm sure there are more artists that have achieved this status over there. I just don't know anymore. And so if people have recommendations of other comic centered work where Japanese artists have the ability to do work like this at their own pace, I would love to hear about it, because I mean, it's stunning. So go out and grab yourself a copy, and keep a lookout for whenever I get the Lorenzo Matoti and Schouten and Peters travel books that are coming. Make sure to like, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell.